Mrs. Alexis Forbes Moorehead is an award-winning lead formulation chemist. She is a Bahamian-American cosmetic scientist and business coach born in Miami, Florida. She received her bachelor's degree in chemistry and psychology from Florida International University's College of Arts, Science, and Education, and her cosmetic formulation training from the Institute of Personal Care Science. Lexi served as the chairwoman of Project Release of Florida, Inc., and is currently a member of the Society of Cosmetic Chemists. She is the recipient of the 2023 Green Star Award for her Echo Botanical Hair Conditioner Pod formulation. The Green Star Award is presented by the Society of Cosmetic Chemists to recognize an innovative, green, and sustainable formulation developed during the past 12-month period. Equipped with a strong business acumen, Lexi is credentialed through the Human Resources Certification Institute and holds a business specialist certificate from Broward College. Her interests include environmental protection, animal welfare, poverty alleviation, mental health awareness, science, and technology. Let's welcome Miss Alexis Forbes Moorehead to Pathways to Success.
Welcome to Pathways to Success with Dr. Michael Hunter. I am Ngozi Christian, and in a few minutes we'll be joined by Dr. Hunter. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Alexis Forbes Moorehead. Miss Moorehead, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's our honor. So today we want to talk to her about all of her achievements and the work that she does. So my first question is, can you share with us a little bit about your journey after receiving your bachelor's degree in chemistry and psychology?
So after college, I initially majored in psychology because I felt like mental health was important in the Black community. We had an assignment called Toxic Baby where it talked about the different chemicals that enter our body as well as the chemicals that we're exposed to now opposed to previous generations. And I kind of jumped down a rabbit hole from there, right? So at first I was like looking into food science, but then I got into cosmetic science and that really piqued my interest. And that fast forward today, here I am.
Well, I was about to ask you, how did that propel you into cosmetic science? But you just answered my question. So the next thing I'd like to ask you is, what inspired your interest? I know you just gave me a little snapshot, but what inspired your interest or even fueled the interest in cosmetic formulation?
So upon learning more about food science, I think beauty is a really big industry. I think beauty also plays a role in mental health. So I felt like that went hand in hand. So when I was on YouTube and I saw Belinda Carley, who's actually the owner of the Institute of Personal Care Science, and I just was watching her videos, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So that's kind of how that a combination of the assignment that I had, and then just wanting to learn more. I'm just that type of person. Like I want to understand the why, the how, and I kind of just jumped in like that.
Wow. Okay. So I see that you were part of a project. You were a chairman of the Project Release of Florida. I know that might have been a while ago. But tell us a little bit about it and what you're doing now in terms of philanthropy.
Sure. Okay. So Project Release, pretty much what we did, because again, I was a school for mental health. We provided mental health services as well as job readiness services for the homeless, as well as people who were just getting out of prison or juveniles that were in and out of the system. So right now I'm actually working on another nonprofit to provide resources and funds for small Black-owned brands to have funding to afford product development.
Cool. Okay. Well, personally, I'd like to congratulate you on your award. She has been awarded the 2023 Green Star Award for her Eco Botanical Hair Conditioner Pod formulation. Tell us about that.
Sure. So, it's a lot of misinformation going on. I kind of wanted something that was, one, innovative, two, sustainable, to help prevent waste and everything that's going on with our environment right now. So what the pod is pretty much, it kind of gives you a chemist for a day experience, right? So let's say, you got a conditioner, you like how it works, but maybe it's too thick or maybe it's too thin. Well, with the pod, it gives you control of the formulation.
Okay, so let me see if I understand. So if I wanted it thick, I could add a little water. If I wanted it thin, add more water.
Yes.
So it's up to me.
Yes.
Excellent.
As long as you add the amount that, the recommended amount.
Yeah.
But of course, if you wanted a little thinner, you'll, add water. So I kind of made it that way.
Cool.
As well as, again, it's a single use, so no waste. And the box is recyclable.
That sounds awesome. Now, we know a lot of persons are very big on sustainability and the environment, so I'm sure that's a big win for them. How did you come up with the idea for the eco botanical hair conditioner pod formulation?
Sure.
Tell me more.
I feel like you could go to the store and there's hundreds of conditioners, right? There's a lot of conditioners out there. And I wanted something different. And I wanted something that not only provided a fun consumer experience, but I wanted something to do my part in a better, cleaner, greener environment, but also having giving the customer something to do, right? Because we do all the work.
You're part of the process.
You're part of the process. So really just those two things in mind, just the sustainability as well as giving customers that unique experience.
Cool. Now, as a member of the Society of Cosmetic Chemists, in fact, I didn't even know there was a society, but tell me more about that and what was your involvement or is your involvement?
Sure. So the Society of Cosmetic Chemists, it's suppliers, it's distributors, manufacturers, L'Oreal, chemists. So it's anybody that's in the beauty industry. And I have my research and development lab, but we also own a chemical store. So that's another thing that I'm real big on, making these chemicals accessible to smaller brands, as there's not many opportunities out there. So with the Society of Cosmetic Chemists, they really allowed me to rub elbows with suppliers, meet different chemists, and just network. So I think it's a great organization, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it.
So this is just a little segue. So anybody who is in the beauty industry can join, whether they're cosmetologists, whatever they're doing in that field, they're able to join.
No. You have to be a chemist.
Okay.
You have to have a degree in science.
Okay.
Or you can be a student, but of course your concentration has to be in science.
Okay.
Or if you're a sales rep, if you work for a supplier. So typically someone who's either in the research and development side or the supply chain side of the industry.
Okay. So how has this involvement in the society impacted your career?
Well, winning the award definitely propelled it. I've been getting a lot of different clients reaching out to me, wanting to work with me, rubbing elbows with more known chemists. And, definitely the network opportunity. It definitely helped me a lot, and getting my brand out there as well as my supply company, and that's been going. So I'm grateful. Definitely grateful.
Great. Now, what are some of the most exciting developments you see on the horizon as it relates to the cosmetic industry, in your opinion?
Waterless products. And that's what the hair conditioner pod is. Waterless products, they might be a little more on the expensive side, but I think they're worth it. One, they're better for the environment. Two, cleaner ingredients. Even though clean beauty is kind of a touchy subject in the industry, but just doing our part, right, to reduce the waste.
Okay. Okay. Can you share any challenge that you had in your journey? You started in 2019 based on my conversation with you, but 2019 when you started, what were some of your challenges?
Well, in 2019, I was actually still working and going to school. So initially, before I got in the cosmetic industry, I was working in human resources. And if you work in human resources, you're dealing with problems every day. You got the company against the employee against the company. So we're kind of in the middle. And I feel like one of the biggest challenges wasn't really balancing the job, but not being able to feed the creative within me.
Okay.
So that's when in 2021, I'm like, you know what? I just want to do this full time, and I've been doing it ever since.
So basically, when you started, you had the competition of your own job, And so that kind of set you back a little, but then you dropped it in order to move your business forward.
Right.
That's very inspiring.
Okay, thank you.
What advice do you have for aspiring cosmetic scientists?
Be you. That's one thing that I don't see a lot of in the industry, especially being a woman of color in a white male dominated industry. People come and they code switch and they feel like they have to be somebody they're not or be this way to be acceptable. I mean, you see me, I'm tatted up. I curse. Like I'm very unconventional, but I think that's what make gravitate people to me. That being authentic and being genuine and being who I am.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I can say. Be you. Whether you're R&D chemist, whether you're a product developer, whether you're an analytical chemist, whatever you try to do in the industry, just be you.
Okay. Now, I thought I would ask you, as you are in cosmetic science, what's your area of focus? What do you focus primarily on?
Well, I deal with a lot of different clients. Sometimes someone wants color cosmetics. So usually most chemists, they do like a set thing, like this person is for color, this person is skin, this person is for hair. I'm well versed in all. I do over the counter drugs as well. But my go-to is skincare.
Okay. And in my conversation with you before we started, you mentioned research and development. Tell us about your involvement in that.
Okay, so yeah, research and development is pretty much what I do. So let's say you want to start your brand, me and you will sit, we'll chat, you'll tell me, the product, the specifics, the efficacy you want, and I'll like here, I'll use these different chemicals, I'll put the products together, I'll send them to you. You would say, hey, I like this, no, I don't like this. We'll go back to the drawing board. Thank God I've never had anyone who said, no, I don't like this.
That's good.
And that's pretty much it. And then if you need help, I'll guide you through the industry. If you need help with brand development, things of that sort, then we'll go through that. And then I'll provide you a formula. And then you take the formula to the manufacturer and they mass produce the product for you.
Cool. Now, how do you balance your role as a cosmetic scientist and a business coach?
The good thing about that is it's the 2-in-1. So I only work with brands. Usually the coaching is a part of the pricing with the research and development fees. So it's usually one, but I do have clients that I see on a one-on-one basis. So I typically shut my calendar, like we try to like schedule a time because I do work with various brands and I don't want to deprive anyone of their time. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday will be R&D and Tuesday and Thursday will be strictly consulting.
That's a wise way to divide your time.
Yeah.
Are there specific mentors or people you look up to in this field of cosmetic science?
Not really a mentor, but I do want to shout out Afam Coral. He's actually a sales rep at when I first launched my supply store. He works at a supplier, one of my suppliers, and I was just inquiring on products. And I don't know anything about supply chain. I just know about chemicals. And he taught me everything I know. And that really helped me learn the industry on the supply chain side of things. He's, introduced me to different brand owners and has really helped me. So shouts out to you. I really appreciate that.
So continuing on that same question, so in the genesis of, how this all started for you, was there somebody who inspired you to go along this direction? Somebody who even convinced you that, yeah, this is the route to go? Was there such a person?
My husband, he really pushed me. Because that's one thing I always struggled with was confidence. I always struggle with, I don't look the part, or they're not going to take me serious. Because for a long time, I didn't tell clients, or I didn't tell them I was the owner. I would just say, I'm just a chemist, or they were like, we want to tell your boss you did a great job. And I was like, I'll send them an email, whatever. And knowing it was me. So he really helped me develop the confidence to really be confident in what I'm doing, and then being confident in myself. Because I wasn't going to send the product for the award. I was like, don't worry about it. It's whatever. And then he was like, no, you need to send it. You're going to win. And I sent it and I won. So definitely so grateful for my husband.
Shout out to
Mr. Ronnie Moorehead.
Okay. Now, in terms of the process it takes to formulating your products, walk us through the process from the start to the end.
Okay, so yeah, so let's use the hand cream for example. So let's say you come to me, you say, hey Lexi, I want to do a hand cream. I want it to be natural. I want it to be certified through one of the natural certifying agents. So okay, what I'll do is I already kind of have an idea of what ingredients to use. So I use my rationale. So it's a hand cream, so it shouldn't be greasy. It shouldn't have a long rubbing time. It shouldn't have a white cast, which will equate to the long time. Yeah, nobody likes that. So I will pick the materials that will suit best for the product. And again, do you want fragrance? Based on the target market. Of course, if you have a younger target market, we'll go something strong, fruity. So yeah, you pretty much just use rationale. I look at trends, and then I develop the product from there.
Okay, nice. Now, in your opinion, how can the beauty and cosmetic industry contribute to a more sustainable and eco-friendly future?
I think that they're doing a good job with that now. Um, Recyclable packaging has been a thing. Like the product that I did, waterless products are becoming a thing. So I really hope it continues. But I also want it to be safe as well because there is safety concerns in terms of microorganisms and things of that sort, leaving it to the consumers. But the way research is and everything is going now, I'm very, very grateful and happy for the direction that it's going in right now.
Okay. Now, in your view, how can the beauty and cosmetic industry contribute to a more sustainable product? You just answered that question, didn't you? My apologies, I'm sorry, viewers. What's next for you, though, in terms of innovative cosmetic formulations or projects? What's coming next for you?
So our next project, I haven't announced it, so this will be the first time announcing it. We are working on a nonprofit organization called Breaking Barriers in Beauty. And in the nonprofit organization, it's targeted for beauty brand owners who are part of marginalized community to help get them funding in cosmetic education so they can launch their brand and level the playing field.
Nice. Do you find that there's a shortage of that sort of thing?
Yes. So usually R&D is not free. I mean, it costs thousands of dollars to develop a product.
Yeah.
And just in the last couple of years, I see a lot of people who look like me who they just can't afford it, right? Or they don't understand the industry, and it's not really free resources like the Society of Cosmetic Chemists. It's great. It's a lot of information, but it's not available to those who don't have the background. So my primary focus is accessibility and as well as making sure that we have that funding so they can develop products that's just as good that could help again level the playing field.
Okay, let's say I am starting in the industry. I want to come up with a product. What should I do? I come to you for advice. I'm clueless. Never been in the beauty industry. Knew nothing about cosmetics. What would you tell me?
Well, the first thing I'll say is market research. Definitely market research, seeing trends, because the beauty industry is saturated and it's actually in the mature phase, right? So there's thousands of moisturizers, there's thousands of shampoos, conditioners. So the first thing I usually ask my client is, what is going to make your brand different from the thousands that's already out there? Because when you think about consumer spending habits, I'm sure there's a shampoo you always use, right? Or conditioner, or some type of beauty product you always use.
Cantu. Yes.
Okay. Cantu. So what would make you purchase from my brand instead of Cantu?
It has to smell nice. It has to feel nice. And my hair has to look nice when it's done.
See? And those are the aspects that we'll work on. I think a lot of people jump into the industry without the market research. A lot of people jump in the industry without the guidance, right? Because I always tell my clients this industry is 99% marketing and 1% formula.
Wow.
You got to know the business. You got to know the business. So that's one thing I would definitely like. I focus on innovation because again, everyone's doing the same thing. It's a ton of products out there. Let's focus on making sure you win. I think that's one thing I like about me and how I do things at my lab is that we also add the coaching a part of the research and development. And we want to know your future plans. I could easily just take your money, give you a formula and send you out your way, but that's not what I want to do. I want to make sure that you develop the product. I want to make sure that the product, you could leverage it in this market.
So I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit more.
Mhm.
So, like I said, I'm clueless. I come to you, I don't have a company, I don't have a name, I don't have a logo, I don't have anything. So, what's the first thing I need to have?
Well, a business plan will help,
Okay.
but if you don't, I will help you with that as well. My first question would be, what's your why? Why do you want to have a brand?
Mhm.
What problems do you aim to solve?
Right.
And then we can start from there.
Okay. So when we were talking earlier, you mentioned something about brand philosophy. Tell us
Mhm.
about that and why is it important to have one?
Absolutely. So your brand philosophy is basically the essence of your brand.
Mhm.
You know, like my brand philosophy is, of course, I want to see all of my clients win.
Mhm.
We help beauty brands scale through strategic planning and innovation product development.
Mhm.
So that's my philosophy, that we are aiming for your success. So that's what your brand philosophy be. So let's say, you know, you want products that incorporate exotic ingredients to provide a tropical feel for someone who's never, you know, it's really just whether you want it to be a real thing. And then some brands philosophy kind of go based on psychology.
Yeah.
Right. So it kind of depends. But, you know, if it's something personal, like I had a young lady, she had a scalp care line because, you know, she lost all her hair and she wanted products that would help with hair growth. Right. It's a little different with hair growth because that's, you got to get FDA approval because, you know, that's considered a drug. You might look at it as a cosmetic, but it's a drug because it makes those claims.
Okay.
So it's a process, but I help walk you through it every step of the way.
Okay. I must admit, it sounds like an expensive process. So if I were to come to you, like I've been saying over the past 2 minutes, what would my bill look like? You don't have to give me the exact figure, but like a ballpark. What would I expect to spend a cosmetic scientist?
So it depends. So water-based products are more prone to microorganisms and proliferation. Of course, you don't want that because your cosmetic product could literally kill someone if it's not formulated right, if it's not properly preserved. So water-based products are a little more on the expensive side, between 4,000 and 5,000. Where products that's oil-based, that you know you don't really have that risk, those are a little cheaper. But it also depends. Like, is it a color cosmetic? Is it hair care, skin care? So it all depends. But I'm pretty good. Like if I like feel like, okay, I know this person is serious, they're on their game, I will work with you with pricing.
Okay. So you know what you just said about water and oil being different price? You know, I didn't know that, but I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that. Okay. So let's go back to your the start of your journey. You mentioned that you were doing psychology first, then you went over into cosmetic science. What would somebody need? So somebody listening to you right now has gotten interested, inspired, and they want to do this field of work. What do they need to have in terms of how do they matriculate? Do they need to have a science background? What do they need to have?
So there are two terms in the industry. So there are cosmetic formulators, and then there's cosmetic scientists. So I only call myself a cosmetic scientist just because I did do the education and I do different areas of, like, I do the research and development, but I also do microbiological testing. So I dibble and dabble in the different sciences. So I don't like to say chemist. I mean, technically that's what I am.
Okay.
But but if you wanted to be a formulator, there's options like Institute of Personal Care Science. That's what I want to actually learn, formulation.
Okay.
So the formulation piece and the science piece, you don't learn cosmetic science in a traditional chemistry class, right? You have to learn that elsewhere.
Okay.
So yeah, if you wanted to be a cosmetic formulator, you could do things like that. There's plenty of like little online schools, but I would recommend Institute of Personal Care Science.
Okay. So I don't need any science background then.
Yes, you should.
Okay.
You should. If you want to know, because you have to understand chemistry. Cosmetic science, period, is not just chemistry, it's biology, it's physics. You know what I mean? So you would want to have that education to know every aspect of it.
Okay.
But if you just, wanted to be a formulator, then that's a little different process. But I always recommend go to school for chemistry, and then there's master programs out there for cosmetic science specifically. Or if you just want to learn formulation, then you can learn formulation. on its own.
Okay. Are these offered at any institutions that you know of in Palm Beach? For example, the Palm Beach College?
No,
No?
they don't. So the only bachelor's program in cosmetic science is in Ohio. I believe that's University of Toledo. But University of Cincinnati has a master's program. I believe Long Island University, Rutgers University. I believe Spelman College, they just started an online cosmetic science. So if you guys wanted to start there, but again, I highly recommend having a science background because you have to understand the science, you have to understand the compatibilities of the chemicals. You can learn it at a surface level doing the trade or vocational route, but you really would want to understand it because again, at the end of the day, this is people health, right?
Okay. My last question on that line is, okay, so I've decided this is the career route for me. What can I expect to make as my income? Judging from you, what can I expect to make as my income?
Well, that depends. Do you want to be an independent consultant or do you want to work for a company like L'Oreal?
Tell me about both.
Just starting in the industry, maybe like 40, like entry level, like 40 if you're working for like a lab. As a consultant, the sky's the limit.
$100,000, $150,000.
Right, because let's say, you do 10 clients at $5,000, that's $50,000. And the process take 3, 4, 5, 6 months, depending on the client, depending on the product. So it can be lucrative, but then you have to also keep in the back of your mind that not every day someone is starting a brand.
Right.
So this is why, you should have your lab, but this is why I also have different ventures.
Cool. Well, it has been a pleasure, Ms. Moorehead. I've enjoyed listening to you. I've learned a lot in the past, 20 minutes that we've been talking and 30 minutes before the show started. So I'm sure it's the same for those who are listening, those who are watching. And if you have questions, feel free to send them in. We will pass them on and answer your questions as the days go by, or even this evening if we get your questions quick enough. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you pick out this detergent all by yourself? So cute.
It's half the size and it's half the plastic. And there's nothing cute about unnecessary plastic. Christy, the average person generates over 200 pounds of plastic a year. And there are 329 million of us in the US alone.
Do you want paper or paper? Yeah.
7th generation Easy Dose laundry detergent. Half the size, half the plastic, all the clean.
So where were we?
The playoff.
Oh, yes. Only a handful of teams remained, hailing from kingdoms far and wide across the college football land, all vying for a spot in the playoffs. Each team led by a great coach, fearless players, and defended by the loyalist of fans. Soon, they would take part in an epic playoff battle for the right to call themselves national champions. And to the victor go the spoils, a beautiful trophy, a grand celebration, and bragging rights that stand the test of time.
And then what happened?
We'll find out soon.
Ready? All clear. 517 gas control. Come on out.
chewy.
You know what's going on?
This ship is now under the command of the First Order.
Live your Star Wars story in a new 2-night adventure.
You know what I've come for.
Only at Walt Disney World Resort.
Welcome back. So for this segment, we'll be preparing
A hand cream.
a hand cream, and I'm the assistant, and this is the
Well, no,
researcher.
I am going to, you're going to be the scientist for today, but I will walk you through it. I made this formulation so it could be really, really quick. A super easy to make hand cream. So we're going to start with our water. We're going to measure out our water. So cosmetic formulations are written in percentages. So what we do is we take the percentages and we transfer it to a batch size. So a standard batch size we always start with is 100 grams. So we're going to make 100 grams of hand cream. Okay. And we're just getting our scale together. Okay.
So for those of you watching, we have a little scale, and we're measuring some water.
So we're going to do 79.3 grams of water. And then sometimes it might go over a little bit, but that's fine. We'll go ahead and take out when it goes over. That's
Okay. Scale is now saying 81, so we're going to take a little bit out.
yes. 79.3 is what we're looking for. I could put it here. I have to get another one of those.
This should be fun.
And it's super quick. So usually, sometimes formulations are made with hot process, but today we're doing a cold process formulation. I find it to be better for the environment as the processing, heating, and cooling times are a little faster. Well, a lot faster. So here we're going to add our humectants.
Okay.
Pretty much what humectants do is they draw moisture into the skin.
And in this case,
Hydration. Sorry.
in this case, this is glycerol.
Yes, this is glycerin.
And propane.
Propanol.
Okay.
No worries, I got you. And we're gonna do 3 grams of that. So again, glycerin is just a humectant, and again, it helps.
Can you repeat that word?
It's a humectant.
Thank you so much.
And propanol is also a humectant. Research has found when you combine these two, double the hydration. So I always like to mix these two.
So this is why it's important to have a chemist work on your next product.
Yes, we always try to make products that, again, are comparable to market. There are a lot of people on YouTube and things of that sort, but then it's like, you know, they don't really have that background and have that knowledge to create products that are comparable to what's on the market, or if not better.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and let this stir with our overhead stir.
Okay.
And this is our water phase. So pretty much creams and lotions, they are oil and water. And we use something called, because we know oil and water don't mix, we use something called a emulsifier to keep everything together.
I'm coming up with that.
Yeah. Let me come on this side.
All right. I'm about to become assistant.
And I'm just going to push it down so it can go down on this side of the water.
Okay.
You're doing such a good job. You don't need me.
So just for you who are watching and can't see this part, there's like a fan, you know, the blades on a fan. There's a tiny version of it in this cup, and so we're gonna mix with that.
Okay. So now we're gonna turn the mixer on, and we want to do about 100 RPMs. So we're gonna set it low for right now, just so it can mix.
Okay.
And then now it's stirring.
Okay.
So now we're gonna work on our oil phase.
Let me just make this space so we could perhaps see a little bit of what's going on.
So now we're working on our oil phase, which consists of 3 esters.
Okay.
Esters are what we call lipids. I chose 3 light feeling, but still provides a protective coating to keep the heads moist.
Okay.
So then
I won't attempt to pronounce these names.
yeah, we're not gonna go that deep. So we're gonna go ahead and measure these. So again,
To hold this for you?
no, if you
Okay,
it's
good.
gonna-
Weigh my hand.
yeah, the fan is like. So we're gonna add. Because you want to make sure the measurements are correct. Because the last thing we want to do is have some sort of instability. So we're going to add 2 grams. So this is a natural film former. So it provides a nice light weightless film on the skin to help seal in moisture and stop transepidermal water loss.
Okay. I'm learning a lot today.
And then here, this is called Divine CCT. I actually sell this in my chemical store. The inky name for this is caprylic triglyceride.
Okay.
It's derived from coconut. Medium chain triglyceride, MCT coconut oil you get from the store.
MCT.
Okay, perfect. So yes, and we're gonna add 5 grams of that.
Okay.
And it's a really good, really nice light, give a nice light skin feel. And I'm just adding 5 grams. If it goes over 20 bit, that's fine.
Okay.
And then we're gonna add our last emollient, which is C12C15 alkali benzoate. And we're gonna add 3 grams of that.
So each time she adds, she zeroes out the scale just to make sure she has the correct measurement.
And this is a oil and water emulsion, meaning that we are putting our oil phase inside of our water.
Okay.
All right, so now we got that done. So we got our water, we got our oil. So now we need our emulsifier.
Okay.
So this is what you call a polymeric emulsifier.
Okay. I can pronounce that.
And this is what helps bind the water and oil together. So the thing is, with the oil and the water, the particles are always fighting to get away from each other. So the best way I could describe it is like your emulsifier is your fish hook. And your fish are the molecules of the water and the oil, and they're constantly moving. So we throw our net inside of the water, and it keeps everything together and stop the particles from moving and make everything stable.
So it binds them together?
Yes.
Okay.
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Well, not really together, but keep them from intertwining with each other. Sure. So then we're going to add 1.5 grams, and it's a powder.
I want you all to see, so I'm going to move these over a little bit.
Okay. And then we are going to, so this specific polymeric emulsifier is actually water soluble, meaning that it solubilizes in water, but we're going to put it in the oil phase to disperse it evenly. And then once we put it in there, you'll see how it kind of starts to get along.
And I'll do my best to describe it for you.
And then we're going to mix it. And then while I mix it, you could pick a fragrance. So unfortunately, I have male scents only, but you could try them out. Here goes 3 male scents. I think you'll like that one. That one is one of my favorites.
Nice. So this one is a Radiant.
It's called Radiant, yes.
Okay.
It's a very sophisticated male scent.
It's a little, it has a strong male scent, musky I would call it.
Yes.
I'm trying to describe it for you guys,
So,
but I'll just say it's very nice.
so I'm going to up the RPMs to about 200 RPMs because we're about to add this. We're about to add the oil phase to the water phase.
This one is fruity.
I think that's the iced vanilla woods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're gonna watch it go from water to cream.
Okay. I hope you all saw that. I think I'm going with Radiant.
And then we're gonna up the RPMs.
Okay. So is there a reason you change the speed?
Yes, because you see it's starting to hydrate and it's becoming the cream.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure it's fast enough to mix everything evenly.
Okay. So for the ladies watching, it's kind of like baking. You know, the more you mix the sugar with the egg, is the smoother it gets.
Right.
That's what's happening here. As this thing mixes the ingredients together, it becomes more of a cream.
And it's like, that's such a good way to say it because if I said it, everyone would be like, huh? Because lotion is pretty much a colloidal thing,
Yeah.
right? But it's like, everyone's not going to understand that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll try to keep it elementary.
Yeah.
So,
People like us.
and I don't think they can see it, but at least you can see now it's forming the cream.
Okay. Are you able to see it's becoming white, almost like this container beside it? Yeah. Yeah, I can see it when I
I'm sorry. I usually kind of, this is what this is for, to keep it in place, but
It's fine.
we're not doing that. We're just gonna.
That's fine. We're being mad scientists today.
So then we're gonna measure out our preservative, and this preservative is approved by Cosmos, which is a certifying agency that focuses on sustainability, natural and biodegradability. So this is a Cosmo approved preservative. And we want to weigh this out carefully. So I have our calculator.
Okay.
So let me put that
Do you
down.
want this or?
No. Okay. So right now it says it has 80.47 grams. We're putting 1 gram, so we'll put 79. 79.49. Want to make sure it's properly preserved. Then we're adding our preservative.
Okay.
Now that we add our preservative, the last thing we need to add is our fragrance. And then it's just that simple. So this is why I love cold processed creams. I always try, if anybody try to do like a hand cream or a facial cream, I always tell my clients try to go the cold process route just because it's cheaper in the long run in terms of manufacturing. Now, granted, this is an expensive material. This material is by Seppic, which is a very big manufacturer based out of France. This material is about $75 per kilogram, but they have a minimum order quantity of 25 kilograms. So that's almost $2,000 you will have to pay at a time just for one material.
Right.
So this is why I always try to tell my clients, like, less is more. We literally just made a cream in 5 minutes with a couple ingredients, and you'll see how it feels in the end once we're done.
Yeah.
So we're gonna now add our fragrance. And we're adding 1% fragrance. So fragrances are regulated by IFRA, which is the International Fragrance Regulation Association, something like that. We just call it IFRA. And pretty much IFRA gives you the concentrations to use in fragrance.
Okay.
So, and that's like most chemicals, everything has a usage rate. And I think that's what kind of upsets chemists when it comes to the misinformation out there, because they'll say, oh, this will give you reproductive issues, but it's not taking in consideration that you're using
too much,
just a tiny bit. We're using 1 gram. What is
so
1 gram?
It wouldn't affect you then.
Correct.
Okay.
Not in the way that they try to market some
Okay.
ingredients. So it's 88.34. We're just gonna subtract 1, so it's 87.30. And even if it's a little under, that's fine. And we're gonna let that mix. And we're done.
Nice.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna let it spin for a little bit. I'm gonna take it out. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna let it spin for a little bit. And then I like to hand stir. That's just me. But I also like to let the machine do what it needs to do.
So let me give you a quick summary. So if you're just joining, we're doing a cold processed men's hand cream. And this is comprised mainly of water. And we also have glycerin and some other ingredients, divine. We have a fragrance oil, preservative, and we also have the fragrance, which we just added, radiant.
Yes, radiant. And it's such a nice fragrance. Such a nice light fragrance. And just that quick, we have this beautiful cream.
So if you're not able to see, right now we have something that literally looks like a lotion. It has that consistency of a lotion. Or a cream, as we call it.
It's the same thing in my opinion. And then, if they could see.
Yep. Nice. May I smell?
Sure. I'm just giving it a good stir. Make sure everything is homogeneous.
Okay. Nice.
And we'll go ahead and package it into our little tubes.
Smells just like this.
And you're smelling it like in its raw form, and we only use, again, just 1%. So, and it's nice, it's fragrant. This fragrance company, quite affordable, but fragrance is a totally different ballgame. It is part of cosmetic chemistry. Fragrances could be composed of it could be 10 different chemicals, some up to 60. So that's its own ballgame. Most people who do fragrance only do fragrance because it's such a complex. So more power to you if you do fragrance chemistry, because I don't have the bandwidth for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is our cream. I just like to hand stir it. That's really a me thing.
Would you like me to give it a try?
Sure, if you want it. And then we'll go ahead.
Put a little right here. I don't want a lot because of, I want to show. Okay. Okay.
And this is a sterile syringe.
So it rubs out nicely. I don't have the white stuff which we were talking about earlier. And because it's water-based, it's light. It's not oily at all, which is good.
And then again, I put 2 humectants in it, so to help boost the hydration. And that's completely optional. Where I learned formulation, she usually says, 1 humectant is enough. Why use 2? Because they all do the same thing. But for stuff like this, small personal projects, I would use 2. But working with my clients, it just depends on the budget, right? So let's say you only wanted to spend $3 you wanted to take $3 per unit, right? So I will formulate to that. So I wouldn't use 2. I'll probably use 1 if you want like a cost-effective product.
Okay, but it does the same job.
Does the same job.
Okay.
So then I just put it inside the syringe. And then, you know what? I'm missing my scissors. I'm so sorry.
Okay, we'll give her a few seconds to grab her scissors.
So this hole isn't big enough, and then it doesn't have any space for air. So what I would do, I will cut a pipette. I will put the pipette on the tip.
Okay.
And then we'll place the tip inside, make sure it's air, enough space for air, and then we'll just fill it.
Okay.
I have an actual filling machine, but when I'm making samples, I would pretty much do something like this. Because samples, again, they're usually about 100 grams. Wow. What am I doing? this back in, and then we're just gonna fill.
Okay.
And then that's really it. You got your hand cream.
Yes, we certainly do, and it smells really nice. You can.
And this is the little annoying little time consuming part, but the machine, I have a automatic machine, so it does it on its own. But just putting enough so you can squeeze it out and see how it feels out of the tube.
So for persons wanting to try out a product, develop your product, this is what our cosmetic chemist does. This is what she would do for you. Develop a sample or prototype. Present it in this fashion.
lingo.
Present it in this fashion to you. You determine from there, this is what you want. They can say, add a little more of this, take out some of that, or whatever. So far, she hasn't had that, which is excellent. Then you take that to your manufacturer with your formula, and they develop for you your product.
I'm over here trying
Let me
to
get rid of the trash. I'm the assistant. All right.
And that's it. Your cream is ready to go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for our cold press men's hand cream. It smells really good. I've rubbed it on my hand. It's not oily. It has absorbed to some degree. it really feels nice on my skin. So you did well. I would definitely use your service.
Thank you.
So once again, thank you for joining us. We had today Miss Moorehead. Her cosmetic lab, her lab is in
Port St. Lucie, Florida.
That's right. If you're interested in her service, you may reach her at.
You can email me, Lexi, at divinitycosmeticlabs.com. You can also visit our website, divinitycosmeticlabs.com. If you are already a home crafter or DIYer chemist, we also have a supply store, which is Divinity Cosmetic Supply.
Okay, there you have it. So check out her services, try her out, use her. She's all in it to make you grow, increasing wisdom and profit. That's all we want. That's what we want to do, right? So we're happy to have her. Thank you so much for sharing all that you have. And who knows, you might just be back here one day.
I'm a phone call away.
That's right. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next week. And remember, there is nothing that is impossible under the sun. If you have a product, you can get it done.